Our Creator has woven a 30-day stamp throughout His Word. He has also done so throughout His end-time timeline that is leading us up to the great and fearful day of His wrath. And He has done so for a reason. He has done so in order to put a stamp on the restoration of His 30-day month. The restoration of His 30-day months gives us the correct timing of His appointed times that He commands us to observe, including His seventh-day Sabbaths. We are currently in one of the 30-day time periods that are outlined in His Word. We're in the 30 days that are between the Passover and His 7-day Feast of Unleavened Bread that we are commanded to observe each year, and the backup Passover opportunity that His Word has made available to those of you who missed the opportunity to observe His Passover memorial and His feast in the first month. His Word declares that all months were 30 days in length before He altered the rotations of the luminaries in the days of Hezekiah. And His Word declares that He has sent me to restore all things, including His 30-day months. His Word also stamps His judgment to 30 days. It does so in Zechariah 11:8, where He says, I will cut off 3 shepherds in 1 month, or in 30 days. I loathe their souls, and their souls will be reaped. And in Hosea 5:7, they, speaking of Israel, and specifically separating out Judah and Ephraim in the preceding verses, have transgressed against Yahweh, and they have brought forth children that are strangers to me. Now in a month, or in 30 days, I will devour them among their portion. He is also funneling His timeline into 6 30-day periods of time. The reason for this 6 is to represent the 6,000 years that mankind has been allowed to continue in their self-rule under the 2 legions of Satan and the demons if they rejected to live under the rule of our Creator. This 180-day period will begin on July 24th of this year, and it will be the final 6 months of the 1,260-day testimony that He has sent me to you with. I have recently spoken about how this date ties in Noah's 370 and 377-day timeline with the scattering of the last 1/3 of my hair last July 12th and the first fruit harvest on July 19th. In lieu of January 20th next year being the end of the second 550-day mirror of the 550 days that led up to July 19th, another way of looking at the 370 is 550 minus 180 equals 370. And of course it was 370 days from time that Yahweh closed the door behind Noah and his family until He opened the door and told them to come off the ark. Another interesting 30-day match found in our Creator's Word is 30 plus 40 equals 70, and how He's tied in 70 and 40 throughout His Word and throughout His judgment and such. July 24th will be the 8th day of the 5th month on our Elohim's restored calendar. The 8th day of the 5th month plus 70 days leads to the end of the 17th day of the 7th month on Yahweh's restored calendar. The 17th day of the 7th month is the 3rd day of the Feast of Temporary Dwellings on His restored calendar. The 17th day of the 7th month is the anniversary of Yahweh recording in His Word that He remembered Noah. This day was 110 days after the waters ceased from coming upon the earth. They came upon the earth for 40 days and 40 nights. 40 plus 110 equals 150 days, or 5 30-day periods. This is the 150 days from when He closed the ark's door behind Noah and his family, and when He remembered them. He closed the door of the ark exactly 30 days after the corresponding time that He raised His only begotten Son from the dead on the 17th day of the 1st month. This makes the 17th day of the 7th month to be 180 days from the anniversary of Yeshua's resurrection. If you think that the 180 days that begins on the 8th day of the 5th month is not significant in this, you will soon find out differently. Prepare to be humbled. I certainly do not know how this coming time period will unfold, but I do know that Yahweh's Word declares that the 24th of July will mark the end of Isaiah's prophecy of me walking naked for 3 years. Yahweh's Word testifies that much of His wrath will be funneled into the last 30 days, and even into the last 7 days, and even into the final great and fearful day of His wrath. But events will continue to be magnified leading up to this time, as they have been. The world is coming unglued at the seams as we speak. The end of the 17th day of the 2nd month that begins the 150 days that lead to the end of the 17th day of the 7th month will fall on the early morning hours of May 5th on Satan's calendar. At this point we will be 80 days from July 24th. I have spoken where the end of the 17th day of the 7th month will fall in the early morning hours of October 2nd on Satan's calendar. October 2nd is another mirror of Noah's 110 days. On this day, we will be 110 days out from January 20th. There are lots of dynamics in this that take us to October 2nd like this. I spoke in other videos how Daniel's prophecy for 2,300 morning and evening sacrifices is a prophecy for 1,150 days. The 1,260 days of my prophecy began on August 9th of 2010. August 9th, 2010 plus 1,150 days equals October 2nd, the end of the 17th day of the 7th month. Also, there is a really cool 30-day match found in the 1,290-day prophecy that Daniel gave that identifies the abomination of desolation, Saul of Tarsus. 1,290 minus Daniel's 1,150-day prophecy equals 140 days. 140 days minus 110 days equals 30 days. If he has woven this 30-day stamp throughout his timeline, he spit me out of the belly of the ocean traversing plain 30 days prior to July 19th. 23 days later, he told me to scatter the hair. 23 days after July 24th will be August 16th. August 16th will be the first day of the 6th month on Yahweh's restored calendar. Haggai's prophecy in chapter 1 was given for the first day of the 6th month. And of course, this prophecy ties in directly as Zerubbabel, the end-time messenger of the covenant, the one that would flow out from the captivity. August 16th will be 157 days from January 20th. Back to Haggai's prophecy, it ties into the signature ring too, the Isaiah 55:11 signature ring that Yahweh has sent me with. Anyhow, August 16th will be 157 days from January 20th. The first 157 days of Noah's 377-day timeline were 7 days before the ark's doors closed, plus the 40 days of the waters coming upon the earth that followed them, plus the 110 days that led to Yahweh recording that he remembered Noah. He is suggesting that you remember the days of Noah. He is not going to destroy you with the flood like he did back then, but he is going to destroy you if you do not turn from your rebellion to his word. Rebellion to his word is rebellion to him. It is rebellion to his only begotten Son, who was made to be his word in the flesh. He has put this 30-day stamp in his word for a reason, and the reason is to tell you to return to his restored Sabbath, to his Torah. The 3 on this side of the golden candlestick and the 3 on the other side testifies to 3 30-day periods on one side of the scattering of my hair, and it testifies to 3 30-day periods on the other side. The bookends of these 2 90-day periods were the last day of his 2 7-day feasts. This prophecy was the 3rd tier to his sign of Jonah that his only begotten Son said would be the only sign given to the wicked and adulterous generation that requires a sign. Here is what his word says about the one who would be sent to repair the breaches and to restore that which was made desolate, and about returning to his Torah and to his Sabbaths. Isaiah 58, and from you I will build the vanished places that were made desolate, and I will rise up the foundation of many generations, and you will be called the repairer of the breach, the restorer of paths to dwell in. If you will turn your feet to the Sabbath, and do my desire on my set-apart day, and call the Sabbath a delight, the sanctified of Yahweh, and glorify it, and glorify my path, in other words, and glorify his Torah, and attain my desire by speaking my words, then you will delight upon Yahweh, and you will ride upon the high places of the earth, and I will feed you with the heritage of Jacob your father, because the mouth of Yahweh has spoken it. If you think that the restoration of his 30-day month is not important or not true, you're about to be purged from before his face. He has stamped this 30-day restoration throughout his word and tied it directly in with the 2 witnesses, with the menorah, the golden candlestick and such, and even the temple measurements, and he had recorded in Ezekiel, just phenomenal. In hearkening to his what he has restored is hearkening to the correct timing of his set-apart 7th-day Sabbath on his restored timing of his Sabbath, because the mouth of Yahweh Elohim has spoken it through his servants the prophets.